Welcome to Scoop World Order. We are here. It is getting close, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday. We are rolling along. I got B. Moses in with us today. We are going to fire up the super chats. You guys have questions. We get a little inside info on the preparation going into the Ohio State Michigan game. It's about to be lit, and I'm super excited about it. We'll share some of that with you. Give B. Moses takes on the games, and we might get a stop in from James Yoder, who is crazy and actually just had me on his show 5 minutes ago. It was pretty hilarious. So we'll see if we get Yoder in here. But we appreciate you guys as always. If you guys have super chats, you have questions you're dying to know the answer to, you super chat it, you cut the line, you automatically get it answered immediately. So I would love for you guys to be on that with us. If you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. But without further ado, gonna get right to my boy, B. Moses. B. Moses, it's Tuesday. This feels like a must-win game for Ryan Day, just because I feel like Sherrod Moore being the head coach, like he's got a lot on his plate, man. When you're the O-line coach, the OC, the head coach, that's a lot. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, like I've seen it. Like when Ed Warner was promoted to being the offensive coordinator and he was still the O-line coach, I thought it'd be a terrible move. I think he has to be the tight ends coach so he can be more involved in the passing game. But man, that's for a 37-ish year old guy, and he's got to go play one of the best Ohio State teams that they've seen in a while. What are your thoughts on him, and what are your thoughts on the game as of Tuesday?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's something that if you're human, you have to consider. Like, yeah, that's to me, that's more of an added pressure point after the fact. God forbid we were to lose that game. I think that narrative will come kind of crushing down on him, or potentially. But honestly, I think before the game, I don't think he's thinking about that. I really don't. I think he's so here, especially that this team just seems locked in. I've been looking at the player interviews and just kind of, I know you say you can't really get much. I feel like I can glean some things from the players, how they're talking, how their disposition, all that stuff. And I think these boys are locked in. I think they're confident that they get the job done. And so I think that's going to be an after the fact, if God forbid they lose, about the whole you lost to a interim coach and all that stuff. So
Well, I think obviously you can't really think about it. You're just in the moment. Like right now, like these players can't wait to get the kickoff. I've been getting through Tuesday. They got one more. I mean, Wednesday's like the last hard practice of the week. Thursday's kind of like a walkthrough ish, fast. Then you have your fast Friday walkthrough. So it's not, they got one more day, but it's just the anxiety, the questions, the people constantly asking you what's going to happen, what's going on, what's the deal. You can't wait to just go play. And I mean, these kids have been worn out. And again,
yeah,
when it's like this, where there's not really any competition, it's like once we got through the Camp Randall game, it was like everyone's just like, oh god, it's like a free fall to the Michigan game. Like there's nothing that can really stop us down. And Michigan was kind of in the same boat. Who are some of your key players to watch for? Obviously, Trey Henderson is going to be number one for me. But who else? What are some matchups that you've seen that you like? Or what are you going to be watching for early in the game on Saturday? Is it, bro?
yeah. So Kirk, I heard most of what you said. We got like a little bad connection.
I got you.
Like you're chopping up really bad. But I heard you say matchups. So to me, the number one matchup I want to see is Marvin Harrison Jr. and Will Johnson. Like that's what I want to see, because Scum fans are just prop. I know Will, like he's just gonna shut down Marv, and and all that stuff. I want to see that matchup. I want to see a fade route over the top. Marv pluck a couple balls over his head and clown him, because I'm sick of them talking about Will Johnson. But besides that, I'm going to say matchup wise, I want to see our ends against those tackles. I've been looking at the film and listening to you and seeing that they've been struggling. I want to see Jack and JTT up against them tackles. That's number two for me.
Yeah, I think that's the big matchup for us. I think the tackles versus the ends is going to be it's going to be a massive deal. I think that we've got a nice edge there. I think that they've got it's going to be a battle of wills on the inside. I think that their one guard center is real good. Tyleek's real good. You need
Yeah.
Tommy to get as healthy as possible. Again, we're beat up, but that's college football in modern times. And I mean, the seasons keep getting longer and longer. You know, these guys have 2 bye weeks, and they got to play in the Big Ten title game, then they got to play in the playoffs getting expanded. So I mean, these guys get beat to death. So some of these guys can barely walk, but nobody cares. You got to strap up and go get it at this point in the season. There's not, again, like everyone across the spectrum in football at this time of the season, everybody feels like hot trash. Everybody. So I mean, your body feels terrible, and you just got to go get it. You got to go shake the cobwebs off. You got to get warmed up. You got to do whatever you got to do, and it's really tough. Did you as you're getting into game week prep and everything else, who do you think are some of the guys on defense that you need to see step up?
I'm going to say Sonny Styles. I think with all the talk about him in preseason, everything we've seen and been waiting on this year, he's been very good. But I think this is the game for him to really kind of um, let everybody know his contribution to this team and how important he is to this defense. Being able to, guard a tight end out of the backfield, being able to, not have to switch him out on rundowns. Like he is the guy that will help us to be multiple on defense. With Scum's attack, they love the tight end, and of course they want to run the ball. So I want to see him step up and have just a fantastic game. Also, I want to see Denzel Burke. I want to see him step up and do what he's been doing all year, but just flash, get some PBUs, maybe a pick. He's been really good. First of all, let me say this about all our corners. Our corners are physical. They come up in the run and they're not afraid to hit you, especially our boy Jordan Hancock. He's been
Mm-hmm.
really good. I'm super excited about this secondary, and I'm hoping that we can get Scum into passing situations more often than not because that's advantage us. But yeah, number one is Sonny Styles on his defense because I think if he plays at a high level, it's going to be a long day for Scum.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Sonny being in at safety is one of those things where you've got more physicality in the back end than Lathan. Lathan really struggled in the run fits last year. We gave up a lot of big runs with Lathan back there. And some of it's just
Yeah.
schematically how they spin stuff to him. And they make him kind of the free guy that has to make the tackle, and frankly, he's not great at it. So I think it's just one of those things where I think that he has like Sonny has to have like a legit game, like an eight tackles, maybe get a sack. I think he's going to be
Yeah.
critical in containing JJ McCarthy. Again, if you want to play
Yes.
him down a little bit, if you're playing, so you're playing nickel the whole game, and you got Hancock at nickel, and then you've got Proctor back deep. Sonny can come up in the box a little bit and help defend. JJ's running as a strong safety. So
Right.
that'll be really interesting to watch to see how they do it. And honestly, I just think that since they don't have the signals anymore, it's totally different, man. It's like again, I told people when you do that and you base your whole livelihood off cheating, all of a sudden if you don't have the signals anymore, like they did against CCU, they get ran. Because they don't really know how
Yeah.
to coach. They just know how to like cheat. So again, any like a chimpanzee could like call offenses when they know that it's going to be cover three every
Right.
time, or it's a zero pressure blitz. Like I mean, it's so easy to do that. So we're gonna get some super chats in here. We're gonna take a couple of these answers. D Sunny, appreciate you, brother. You're in here every night. Thank you for the 10. This is the biggest game ever. It could well be for an Ohio State fan. So let's say the previous years was because of cheating. If they win, they can say this is proof they would have won anyways. This is 3-for-1. Yeah, I mean, obviously the '06 game was 1-2, and again, the reason the '06 game isn't, it's probably the best Ohio State Michigan game ever because it literally was a 1-2 game. Like you just don't get that. I mean,
Yeah.
it never happened before or since. We're gonna get like a 2-3 game, but that's just so rare. And I think that game got knocked down so much is just because we got smacked by Florida, and then USC beat Michigan. So how good were we? I don't know, but we both didn't play well after that. It was like we both kind of sold our soul to win that game, and then the next game there was no soul left, and we got our soul snatched.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Where does this rank in your lifetime in terms of the biggest Ohio State Michigan games? Because I think you'd easily make an argument that it is the biggest Ohio State Michigan game of all time because with all the Harbaugh stuff and the rest of it, it's just like I don't know. I mean, because I know for Ryan Day, this is the biggest game he's ever coached in. Because if he loses this one to Sharon Moore with a better team, like that's I don't even want to say that out loud. So, but and again, I don't think that there's any chance we can lose this game just because I think we've got too many edges at spots that are important. But what are your thoughts on that, B Moses?
Yeah, man. Listen, that 2006 game, oh my God. Like y'all, I don't know if y'all remember the just the fanfare and the drama, like everything. Like I remember they had like news trucks from China and like other countries and outside of the shoe. Like it was crazy. And also they bumped it to a 3:30 game. Kirk,
Mm-hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong. Before
Yeah.
that, it wasn't a 3:30 game for years and years and years and years.
I think it's the only one they ever had, unless they had one in like 1802 or something like that, or
Right.
1902 or whatever. It's like I mean, like when nobody cared and they're playing on a cornfield, but like in terms of like contemporary, the last 100 years of Ohio State Michigan, that's the only one that's ever been a non-noon game. So
I
that's when you know
thought
it's
so.
lit. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. It was crazy. I mean, so that is a tough, tough one to match. But and then of course you add the fact that Bo died literally on Friday the
of
night before
course.
the game, which just added even more drama. So, but this game, I'm gonna have to say, man, this might match it if not exceed it because of everything that's going on right now with the scum program and their cheating and losing two in a row to them and um the 12-team playoff coming up, changing the feel of the game. Man, this might be it. I think it'll be easier in hindsight to say that after we see the game because let's be honest, Kirk, the reason why we say '06 was so crazy is not just because it was one versus two, is because of how it went down. Like, first of all, I think we should have won that game by double digits, but your boy Doug Daddish kept, bad snapping. I'm sorry. I'm still mad at him to this day. Sorry, Doug. I love you. But those bad
uh,
snaps caused that game to be closer than it should have been, in my opinion. But it came down to 3 points. And so I think that made a big part of it. But this game certainly has the chance to be the same, if not greater, because of everything that's going on right now, which is unprecedented. We ain't never seen nothing like this from the scum side as far as their cheating efforts.
yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see how good are they really without the tape. And I mean, they didn't look that hot against Maryland. I mean, if Talia doesn't screw the pooch, man, that's the type. I mean, he
Yeah.
takes that grounding at the end for the safety, and I'm like, dude, like, I mean, they could have won that. I mean, a lot of these teams they play against, they do dumb stuff. Like Minnesota, I was watching the Minnesota film, the all 22, and like they threw a pick six on like the third play of the game. And I'm like, Jesus
Right.
Christ, man. I'm like, dude,
Come
like
on, dog.
at least give your team a chance, man. You throw a pick six. It wasn't even close. It was just like a airmail. The corner jumped it and went to the crib. Like this is like 2 minutes into the game. I'm just like, I mean, those guys might as well go to the MAC. Buckeye Ryan, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. Hi, Kirk. Hey, it's good to see you, my man. Do you think our line does anything different against the team at North D tackles? How are D tackles do against their interior O line? Thanks for your awesome insight. I appreciate you, brother. I think that we've been running a lot of buck sweeps. We've been getting out on the edge, and I'm going to put that in the film room if I can get. Do I have a B Moses film room thing? I think I might. If not, I'll have to. I'll do it after B Moses gets off. I'll break down some of the stuff that I would do. Again, their D tackles are good. They're big guys. They're Michigan guys. Michigan's always gonna have good D tackles, and they're 340, and Carson Hinsman's like 290 maybe. Carson's not very strong. I mean, he's only a sophomore. He's the youngest guy on the line, so he's kind of like the little puppy out of all the dogs out there. So if you're gonna pick on a guy, you're gonna pick on the little one, who's the youngest one. I would edge these guys. I'd get out on the edges. I don't think their ends are great. I think they're okay, but they don't have like an Aiden Hutchinson. They don't have a Lamar Woodley. They don't have like a guy that's like a super factor like those guys were. And I just think that the linebackers are good. I mean, like again, Michigan's got a good defense, but they're not like it ain't like King Kong out there. I mean, they're not like some of the Michigan teams I played against, like in '06 when they had like Alan Branch and David Harris played like 10 years for the Jets, was a captain in the defense. Like those are the guys we went against. Like those are like real dudes. So
Yeah, they had some dogs in that pick.
yeah, I mean, and again, like I can say they were good when we were going against them, but look how long they played. Like Alan Branch played like 14 years in the league. Woodley played 6 or 7 years. Had a game-winning sack to win the Super Bowl against the Steelers, or excuse me, against the Cardinals. So, you know, I I don't know, but I would get out wide. How RDTs do against the interior line? I honestly think that that's a matchup that we can be really a lot better at. Just because Ty Lake's playing at such a high level, I think Ty Lake's going to be an All-American this year. So, if he really wants to stamp that All-American tree, like this is the game to do because Zinter is really good. Their interior three are good. They're not as good as last year. The center last year I thought was much better.
Yeah.
The kid from Virginia that won he won the Remington. He was a transfer portal guy. So again, I think that we've got winnable matchups. I think Ty Hamilton's going to have a huge game. I wish we had more depth at D tackle. I think Mike Hall will go. But he's got to give us 25 snaps if he can. I just wish we were a little deeper there. But I mean, this is part of college football. You're not going to have like 6 great defensive tackles. You're lucky to have 3 or 4 that you can put in there and they can hang in there versus Michigan. But we need the linebackers. We need Cody Simon. We need those crew. We need Cody to have a big game too because he was really good last week.
Yeah, he was.
OSU's record without Marvin Harrison. Jay Willie, 75. God, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we'd lose without. If we didn't have Marvin and we had Carnell Tate, like I still think we'd be, if not undefeated, maybe we lose to Notre Dame. I guess I don't know, but like, I think that this team's been they've had so much perseverance because you lose Trey Henderson, you lose Emeka, you lose Tommy Eichenberg, you lose Lathan. I mean, really, like the only unit on the whole team, knock on wood, that hasn't had injuries is the O-line. Yeah, and McCord's been kind of dinged, but Cade Stover had wrist surgery. I don't know, but what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think maybe one. I think maybe we dropped the Notre Dame game without Marv, and I know Abuka was the main man in that game, but Notre Dame was paying a lot of attention to Marv. So I guess my thinking is if Marv didn't play that game, then they would go to the next best receiver and pay a lot of attention to him. You know what I mean? So, and Tate was still super young. Obviously, Stover is good playing off of those 2 receivers, but not as like the number 1 guy. So I think if there was any chance for us to lose, it would be that game without Marv. But Penn State, they wasn't scoring at all. So we still wouldn't have lost that game, in my opinion. So I would say maybe ND. So 1 loss.
Yeah, like I said, I still think we have better players. And Notre Dame, they find ways to lose games. So that's just part of the gig. Karis Washington, thanks for the buck. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. And also a member of Scoop Ultra. Appreciate that, my man. So I just look at some questions. Yeah, I think we gotta get the ball out quick. Let McCord get settled in. I think that Trey Henderson is the absolute X factor in this game. He's got to be that dude. He's got to be. When we've won up in Ann Arbor, like, Beanie had that big game. Pittman had some, scored the game-winning touchdown. J-Dub, Jonathan Wells had a huge game. Ezekiel had a huge game in 15. I just think that you really need to pack your running game. I say it over and over again. You got to pack the running game. You got to keep it cranking. Austin, I appreciate you. Thank you for the 50 minutes. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. And you're a Scoop Ultra member, so appreciate that. Listening from small town Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma. I'm going to say I had a stewardess on Southwest Airlines who went to Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, and she was the nicest human being I've ever met because I was C6. If you guys fly Southwest, I was C6. I was the last person to get on the plane, and the only seat available was between 2 dudes that weighed like 400 pounds each in the front row. It was awful. And the one guy didn't have legs, so he was like no legs, and I sat between these 2 guys, and I was like, this is going to be the longest flight to Las Vegas of my entire life. And she literally said, you can come up here and sit in the jump seat. Don't tell anybody I'm letting you do this, but you can do that. And she gave me half for lunch, and she gave me all the drink tickets. Like, she collected all the free drink tickets. So she gave me free drinks. She gave me half for crackers and chips. And also, she let me sit in the jump seat. So I love Oklahoma forever and ever and ever. Boomer Sooner. I love the Sooners just because of her. That was the nicest thing I think anyone's ever done for me because I was a little hungover, and I was going to my bachelor party, and I was like, this is going to be terrible. Because I sat down between those 2 guys, and they both stunk. So, shout out Oklahoma. Thank you, Austin. Oh, God. Greatest. I'm still friends with her on, like, Instagram and stuff. Like, she's the greatest girl ever. Listening from small town Oklahoma, I already said that. Who covers the tight end? I think Sonny Styles. To me, that's a matchup we'll look to. We shut down Scum as no options. We kind of struggle with the tight end sometimes. I think that's why it's good to have Sonny Styles in there because Sonny Styles can rough that dude up. Sonny Styles is the
Yeah.
freakiest dude we've maybe ever had it in the program. He's 6'4", 225, carved out of granite and fluid as can be. Like he is an absolute monster. It's like I don't like comparing him to like Isaiah Simmons because I think he's better than Isaiah Simmons. I think he's a year younger, and I mean now that he's in and there's no roadblock of Lathan Branson, like he's turning up big time. Your thoughts on
Yeah.
that, B Moses? Thank you, Austin.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
amazing.
And I mean, saying he's better than Isaiah Simmons is big because Isaiah
Yeah,
Simmons was a dog. But I do think Sonny, from what I remember, is probably a little more physical. And I'm not saying Isaiah was soft, but I think that gives Sonny the edge potentially is similar size, but he's a little more physical, especially in the box.
yeah.
But yeah, again, I mentioned this earlier with Sonny. I think, knows the way he's going to try to scheme this up is for Sonny to be in position to be closer to the box, obviously because of their run game, but also be the one to line up with the tight end if they leak out. That's the best matchup. Our linebackers on their tight end, probably you might give the advantage to Scum because they're just bigger. But I think Sonny is going to be schemed up to take away their linebackers. I love that. I love Sonny against their tight ends. So yeah, I agree with that.
I think Sonny is this will be he got one more year after this and he's gonna be a top 15 pick in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Karis Washington, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. If you guys are looking for Scoop Ultra, it's a new way to take care of our channel. Again, we love doing this with you guys, love kicking with you guys. We're gonna do some ultra only chats versus me and Nevada, taking all your questions, kind of kicking it. Just gonna be a fantastic deal. Do you think Ryan will lose his job? No, I don't think he will if he loses this, unless they lose by like 70 points and the bus crashes and they got to play the walk-ons or something. Like I think that he's right. Ryan's in a good spot right now. Again, he's got to win this game, but he's he's a guy that if he was fired at Ohio State, he would be at Texas A&M like tonight. I mean, he would have a job in like 2.5 minutes because his skill set is to develop quarterbacks, and that is the most valuable skill set you can have in football and all of football. So, B-Moses, I think you're probably going to be with me on that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
let's just be practical here. I think people, and this is not against you, Karis Washington, but I see this being asked a lot. Is I
yeah,
think the emotion and the depressing thought of losing this game and the anger of losing 3 times in a row, your mind goes to that and just says, well, it's John Cooper and he deserves to be fired. But if you look at the overall track record, number one, and then number two, you look at what's coming down the pike with the 12-team playoff, okay, which is a game changer, especially for Ryan Day in this program and how they're recruiting. And then number three, listen, first of all, I hate even entertaining this because we're gonna beat them on Saturday, but we're just entertaining this. Number three, Scum is done. Let's just say they didn't even have this scandal right now. They're done anyway. Talking to their fans, they've conceded to me even before this scandal that it's a wrap after this year because of what they're losing. I've gotten multiple 8-4s with that schedule next year. So to me, I think Scum is done. They're not going to be a problem for a long time because of this cheating scandal. So you don't fire a coach who wins 90% of his games and has gotten you in the playoffs the last 3 out of 5 years, because of that. It's just not practical. It doesn't make sense. But with that said, he gonna win on Saturday, so it don't matter anyway.
no, I totally agree. Church of the Torah, the hundo. I think this is the first hundo we've ever got. Thanks, my man. I appreciate that.
Oh, nice.
What's up, Kirk? Just checking in to show your face of love. Appreciate you, the best man. Church of the Torah, you are the absolute man, dude. Keep it awesome, stay true, and always keep it real. My brother, real recognize real. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you so much. You're one of the most generous people on here. Again, it means a lot. Again, we work really hard at this. And it's always fun to like kick it with people, answer questions. If you got a question, man, throw a question on there. But I appreciate your support. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. As we're getting into this thing, we're about 4 days out. B Moses, what are you doing for the game? Like, do you go out and kick it? Like, 'cause again, I asked this on BuckeyeScoop.com because I know, and in the chat, I want to hear what are you guys doing for the game? Because it's one thing to like have a house party for like the Ohio State like Minnesota game where we're gonna just ransack them. But when it's a game like this, and there's like we're underdogs. I mean, there's a lot of people don't want to be around people. They don't want to do the big party. People are insane during these games. So I actually liked playing the games because I didn't have to deal with any of the people. I'd just be out there just whooping on dudes. But what are you doing for the game?
Man, this is a great question. So let me preface my answer by saying you are absolutely right. Listen, I can't be around a bunch of low IQ football fans during this game. I can't be around just foolishness like this game. I don't care how confident I am in the game. I'm locked in. I don't want no goofy distractions. I don't want no stupidity. Don't bother me. So at this point, I may stay at the crib and just tell the wife and kids, listen, just go here, go shopping or go do something, and just keep me let me be by myself. Or I might go to a bar and watch it. I don't know yet. We're gonna
Ooh,
see, but I
ooh.
don't I don't want to be bothered, by anybody. So
I'm gonna sit in my basement. I don't want anyone around me. I'll probably have a couple cocktails, maybe a couple glasses of wine. I'll be sitting around looking like a Hartville housewife, basically. Just like I'll be sitting there in my sweats and drinking on that wine and maybe make a cheese plate, and that's about it. I can't get too lit because I did that after the Notre Dame game, so I got to be ready to talk about the game and not stammer and stumble. But it's just one of those things, man, where I don't know, man. I don't really want to be around anybody. I don't want anyone to see me. I don't. It's just like because I got to really lock in because like when I do this like post game, I got to be ready to rock. I got to be
yeah,
ready to
yeah,
say this is what went on. We usually break some film down. So it's like I'll be chilling with a little something, something, just relax But it depends on how the game goes. Because if we blow them out, then everything's great. If it's tight, like
right.
that Notre Dame game was, man. I had
Ooh,
my one homegirl Mariah was bartending. I had a house party. I had all my rowdy friends there, and man, I was like, oh, the anxiety is like, pour me something tall and strong, and I did, and then I had to I accidentally got on the mic, and that was not good, but it was pretty funny. Another Ultra member, thank you, Austin Spears. Appreciate you guys. I get a lot of questions about Scoop Ultra. If you go to search Buckeye Scoop, it says join. It's $10 a month. Again, it's huge for the page. We're gonna do some special Ultra only members chat. So it's gonna be me in Nevada, maybe it'd be Moses. Make it like a super chat and just take your questions. I think it's gonna be really awesome. We're gonna start rolling that out probably once a month, just to make it like kind of a special thing for people to kick it. But thank you for the 20, Austin. Austin, that you had a great experience with Oklahoma. I'm telling you, I'm gonna holler. Actually got her number. I actually saw her and her husband at the Oklahoma Houston game when Tom Herman beat Houston when they had Baker Mayfield and Mixon, all those guys. They actually played in Houston at the Texans Stadium at NRG Stadium. And I remember I asked her, I was like, "Are you at this game?" And like I hadn't seen her since that day, and it had literally been probably like 7 or 8 years. And so it was the funniest thing. Like she met like I was sitting with Tom Herman's like whole family and sitting in a suite. So we were mega lit that game. It was great. Because the one thing about the coaches' wives, man, is they get drunk because they got
oh, I'm
you think
sure.
you think you guys got anxiety. Like if their husband loses this game, they get to sell their house and move to Sheboygan or something, or they gotta they gotta go live they gotta go live some wherever. So those wives get lit now. That is also the experience. That is one thing people say about us. Been a huge Buckeye fan, and my brother is a Scum fan, so we don't talk this week. Been an Ohio State fan since they us. Well, I talk to James Yoder like every day. Like James Yoder. So I was working out. I was on my Stairmaster, getting it in so I can, be like, somewhat, thinner. And I was getting it in, and Yoder calls me and he says, "Hey, can you talk real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up, bro? Are you still coming on at 8:30?" And he's like, "Hang on, just call." So I call. And like my my little Bose headphone things don't pick up the thing, and I'm like on it, and like as I'm getting on, he said, and also just so you know, we're gonna blah 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 blah. Like he's like, because he like puts me on his live show, and like I love Yoder, he's hilarious. But I was like, and I text him, and then he like hangs up on me, and I was like, was I just on your show? And he's like, yeah, man. And I was like, well, it'd have been funnier if my AirPods don't work. Cause I only heard like the last like 8 words where you said, and by the way, Michigan's got a blah blah blah, like, and he said like profanity, which we're not gonna do because frankly, I don't want to get demonetized,
Right.
but just I appreciate it. I think David Boston was a monster. I heard the funniest story of all time when he played for the Cardinals. He wouldn't cash a check that was like less than like 10 grand or something. He would literally just rip it up and throw it away because he said it wasn't worth his time to go to the bank. I swear to God, like I think Alex Stepanovich told me that story. was like, he got a check for 10 G's. He just rip it up and say it's not worth driving to the bank over.
Rich people problems, I guess.
Woo! I'll say, man. I was like, I'll take some 10 grand because you can buy a lot of wine and a lot of shrubs for 10 grand.
Yeah.
Eric Chappell, is it Chappell or Chappelle? I want to say Chappelle because I love Dave Chappelle. Thank you for the deuce. Make sure you correct me on that. If you can do that phonetically in the chat, I'll get that. How much is the center a liability for the game? I think Carson has been good. Now, again, Carson's also very young, and again, he's the youngest guy out there. So not many guys are playing as redshirt freshman. Like I played as a redshirt freshman. It's really hard to do. Like you get your man strength as you get older. He's got to live in the squat rack, get those legs stronger, get on that Stairmaster, build those legs up, and yeah. But he's hanging in there. Again, like you got to remember, like Matt Jones is 4 years older than him to his right. Matt Jones has been whooping people. I mean, Matt Jones is straight silverbacking dudes out there, and I'm just like, but he's 4 years older. I mean, that makes a huge difference when you're in like your development stage in football. And again, like I remember, like when I went from like my freshman year to my second year as a redshirt freshman, I was way better. And then when I was a third year sophomore, I was way better. And then my junior year, I was all Big Ten. And then my senior year as an All American. So it's like, you like climb this ladder. If you're good and you're dedicated, like you're going to get stronger, you're going to get better, you're going to get more comfortable in the system. So I don't think it's a liability. I think it just depends on if Ryan calls the right stuff. Because there's stuff that I'd run against this defense. I mean, I would get him out on the edge. I would get Trey Henderson out on the edge. I would not run him the A gap. I think it's a waste of time. Too many bodies, and again, you're running at they're two big fat guys. Like make those guys run side to side. Appreciate that. That's a great question. Spook Jr., appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the 5. If Devin Brown is healthy, well, we see him in the red zone. I think we do. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the things that they bust out because that kid runs like a hoss now. I mean, he's a stallion. So, Go Bucks. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys and girls that are on here. Appreciate you guys. What do you think, B. Moses? Are we going to see Devin Brown?
I think we are, man. I think we are because we saw before that injury, we saw some good things. Now listen, Devin is not a speedster, but he gets north pretty well. And he's not afraid to take a hit. He'll put his head down and fight for that goal line. And honestly, I think he might have even scored when he got injured. But that's another story. But I do think we are going to do that because we got to pull out all the stops and get the numbers advantages or whatever we can in that red zone. We need 7s and not 3s. So I think we're going to see it. I really do. I think the clip will be emptied. So yeah, I'm going to go with yes, Spook Jr.
Appreciate you, man. VP of Hype. I like that name. That's dope. Oh, that's a cute dog too. I just got a little dog too. What's the dog's name and what's the breed? Appreciate you guys being on here. I'm a big dog guy. I got 2 German Shepherds. One is a little baby girl. I just got named Storm, and I got an older one named Joseph. So they are my little angels. So it's awesome. So thank you for the 20. Did we know last year that they had our signs? I'm just telling you, I mean, I think after a while you have to figure out that they're calling the perfect defense every time. You have to figure out they have your signs. I think you got to go to a huddle. I mean, if you huddle, you can keep it out. Again, there's mechanisms to not steal signs. You lose part of your offense. You can't go hurry up. You can't go look back. A lot of stuff that you've got the little dudes out there giving the hand signals for, like you can't do that if you know that they're stealing the signs. So it's kind of a give and take. Again, like when I was in high school, the most rudimentary way in history is we would huddle and we'd rotate the split ends, and whoever was the split end would run the play into the quarterback and say it. So that's like 1922 stuff, but here's what it is. Like you got to figure out a way to do it, and we never got our signals changed. And if we didn't, what can we expect to see with him now? Not knowing the Carrie Croft show. Is that you, Carrie? If Carrie's on there, that's my girl. I shout out the Carrie Croft show. I went on an episode with her. She does fantastic work. She had Zach Smith on. She had Keith Wendell. She had Gene Smith on. I obviously am by far the most handsome guest she's ever had, so that goes without saying because I do exfoliate and I also floss on air live. But what do you think, B. Moses? Do you think that they had the signals last year? And do you think we knew, or were we just too? Because again, I'm like Denzel Washington in Training Day, man. It takes a wolf to catch a wolf. So I mean, I could figure out when those guys were picking our signs in 12, and I used to love that because I was like, ooh, I ain't the sheep, man. I'm the wolf, and I'm gonna go eat you.
Yeah. So I heard CJ Stroud in his interview allude to basically saying they knew something was going on. Also, DeJuan Jones on Twitter, I forget exactly what he said, but he also alluded to that. This is when that video dropped from Adam King on Twitter that went viral that showed the
Yeah.
scum sideline pointing to the sideline. I mean, pointing to
Oh,
the air talking
oh
about
yeah,
pass.
yeah.
Uh, so you heard that, and then also Ryan Day in his interview today, he didn't go into detail, but he said, we realize, what's been going on the past 2 years, referring to the sign stealing. He said, we'll address it, at a different time. So I think they knew something was going on, but they didn't know the depths of it. Now that things have come out, they're like, you ever seen that gif, that meme from The Wire where old boys looking around like this? Like, I think that's what they did after a while. Like, I knew something was up. So yeah, I think they knew something was up, VB of hype, but they just didn't know the depths of it until now.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, again, it's hard to know because like this has never like fully been blown open like this before. Where they literally have a guy on the sideline this year in like Central Michigan year. Like that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because again, like I've been that guy. I've been the little intern. I've been the GA. Making 17 grand, making peanuts, and getting my MBA at night. And it's just like, you know, even if you're that guy on Friday night when the team's got a Saturday game, you've got the team meal, and then you go to the hotel and you're with the players. You're doing meetings, you're doing chapel, you're doing the walkthrough, you're watching whatever crappy Friday night college football games on. You don't just get to go home. Even if you're like an intern, like you're still there. If anything needs done, if you got to fix the wristbands or the scripts or whatever, like you're always on call. So
Yeah.
for this guy to just be able to roll and go to there, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, I think let me see where we're at. Okay, but appreciate you. If that's Carrie, check out Carrie Croft's show because she's awesome. Does great work. And you gotta have me back on again. Uh, 10 bucks from Casey. Saturday evening will be, and appreciate the time. Thank you. And also, Scoop Off, remember, Saturday evening, we will look back and say that McCord outplayed JJ. What is to stop Harbaugh from being on a burner phone or something with a coach in the booth during the game? Just here's, well, for one, like if you've been to, like the big stadiums like the Shoe or like the cell service is trash. So, I mean, if you're on a burner phone, like, God, I'm trying to think of someone that, one of the drug dealers that, buying burner phones at Walmart, like Cricket Wireless, whatever. Like, you're not gonna have no 5G. So I mean, it's gonna be hard. And again, like maybe you're just in so deep that you don't care at this point because that would be the most egregious rules violation in like history. If they catch you on a burner phone, like I mean, we got written up for chewing tobacco in the thing, let alone having a burner phone. So again, I think that would be hysterical. I don't think there's again. If there is a way to cheat, you can do it. Now it's just what's the consequence? Again, like these guys thought that they were slick, and they really weren't slick. They're actually really stupid, but they thought they'd be slick and do the Connor Stallions thing and whatever. But I just don't think it would be interesting to see what kind of communication he has during the game because I'm sure he's suspended, but like it's not hard to like have like two phones. I got two phones like Kevin Gates and like I got my phone, my university phone, and then I got my personal phone and. Like, again, I would never use the university phone because if you use a university phone, like, they're privy to all that. I mean, you got your personal phone, that's totally different. So it's like, that's like the Jim Tressel rule. Like, don't ever send an email from your university email because they get all that. They don't get your personal stuff. So, your thoughts on that, B. Moses?
I don't put nothing past them clowns at this point. I don't put nothing past them at all. Like they've been so defiant. They've dug their heels in. They've written letters, 10-page letters of nonsense to the Big Ten, not denying, what they've been doing. I just like it's a clown show. Listen, I ain't putting nothing past them, but the question is, will it matter? Because to me, I think he's more valuable during the week than actually on game day because he ain't calling no plays. I mean, he's overseeing, he's, managing the game and, okay, well, let's go ahead and go for it or whatever. But he's not. And I said this yesterday on, when I did a pod, like, it's not the same as losing Ryan Day, who's calling plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it matters, but I don't put it past them anyway. I mean, I just don't. They're cheaters.
Hey man, when you're desperate, they're desperate. I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like what has gone on at Michigan in the last like 3 years. Like, Jim Harbaugh, like, they made him take a 50% pay cut. I've never seen that in the history of coaching. Like, when these coaches, all these coaches are getting raises. They're all going from 8 million to 12 million, 12 million to 20 million. It's like, and then Jim Harbaugh goes from like 10 million to 5 million. And I'm like, and then like, he interviews with the Minnesota Vikings on National Signing Day. Like, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then he interviews the Broncos last year. And I'm like, dude, like, isn't this your alma mater? Like, don't you like love Bo Schembechler, and you talk all this about being a Michigan man, and like you're just dying to go to like the Broncos, who stink, and they've got the worst. It's funny because they're actually turning out now, but like Sean Payton has done a miraculous job with Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson's got the worst contract in the league, and now they've won like 5 straight, but it made no sense, And then all these coordinators, like, they're dipping out. Like, the OC gets fired this year and just disappears from earth. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. Right. Austin, appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the 20. Again, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member as well. I love how sound this defense is. People all want sacks and all, but I'd rather not sound consistent. See, that's where I am. Like, you mix it up a little bit. It reminds me of the Seattle Legion of Boom. See, again, sacks are great. They're awesome. But the only thing I care about is points. Points allowed. If we give up 800 million yards on Saturday, then, I don't care, as long as they stay out of the end zone, as long as they stay out of the field goal, or, just keep them out of the end zone. Keep them off the board. People get obsessed with all these dumb stats. It's like, all that matters is total defense, and that's keeping people out of the end zone. You can call it bend, don't break. You can call it aggressive kamikaze. Like, I don't care. I really don't. Because again, I know my senior year, I wouldn't have had the senior year that I had if it wasn't for Jim Haycock and that defense. We were number 1 in total defense. That defense was terrifying. They get like 60 yards a game on the ground. Terrifying. Number 1 in the nation against the rush. Malcolm Jenkins, Laurinaitis, Cam Hayward. Vernon Golson when he was a 6th pick in the draft. Terrifying. Dexter Larimore, Marcus Freeman, just, Chimde Checkwell as a freshman played great that year. Anderson Russell was really good that year. So Kurt Coleman, a bunch of NFL guys all over the board. And, I always was just so thankful that we had such an amazing defense, because we weren't great on offense. Like, the year before, we were flying with, we had Troy and Teddy, and we had Pittman and all those guys. The next year, we had Todd. We had B Hart, and B Hart was good, and we had Robo, who was also very good, 2nd and 3rd round picks respectively. But they were 1st-year starters, and they weren't nearly as dynamic as Ted and Tony were. Let alone Troy. Troy was the Heisman winner. So, we had to lean more on the defense and kind of ground and pound it, and I loved it. It wasn't sexy, and there were games where we absolutely stunk. But we won, and again, in college football, you just win by 1 and survive in advance. So, great question. Does this defense remind you of the Legions of Boom, B. Moses?
I'm not going to go that far because that defense was just crazy, otherworldly. But I get his point about, the mixing it up. I definitely get his point about that. Nose has been doing a great job of doing just that, disguising coverages, bringing guys that you don't expect coming, mainly Sonny Styles, Hancock, Cody Simon. We'll give up maybe a couple runs, right? And you think they're driving, then boom, here's Sonny Styles comes, on the blitz, and now they're behind the sticks. Or Hancock plays his assignment within the scheme and reads the quarterback's eyes, and boom, pick. Almost a pick six. From that standpoint, I can see what you're saying. But I was a big fan of that Legion of Boom defense. That defense was nuts. But I love, and I'm glad you shouted out Haycock, because he doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for the defenses he put on the field.
He was awesome. He was one of my favorite coaches of all time. He was just a monster, and again, I loved him. He was one of my favorite coaches. I wasn't twitched up enough to play defense, but I was mean enough to play offense, so I worked out all right. Jared Henniger, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, brother. Love the show. What do you think the chances are that college goes to speakers of the helms? this should have happened like years ago. It's like literally stupid that they don't have that yet. But I think that that's got to be the next thing that's coming. Because again, they've got like billions and billions of dollars flying around. Like it's not that expensive to put like a helmet in a speaker. Like again, high schools have tablets now on the sideline. And I'm sure that they have speakers in their helmets if they need them, or maybe in Texas they do it. And obviously in the league, they've got that stuff. So it's so stupid that they don't have that yet. And again, the thing that'd be interesting is seeing, you obviously put the communication. How many people get the communication? Is it just the quarterback? Is it the receivers? Because again, you still have to signal the place of the receivers based on how you do it now. Because in the league, in the NFL, they play, they huddle a lot. They still huddle. They do some no huddle, but there's a lot of huddling. So you could have the little radio in the helmet, and then everybody huddles, and you say, okay, whatever, scat right, 589 Z post Y hitch, like whatever, whatever their jargon is. So like, I mean, does that, if they do the communication in the headset, I wonder how that would affect how much no huddle you'd see versus huddle, because you still got to signal guys. If you're gonna go no huddle, you got to signal the near receiver, the far receiver, and the offensive line. So maybe I think one thing is like if you put the headset on, you could probably just have the quarterback tell the O line the protection, and the running back the protection if you're in the throw game. But it would be fascinating to see. I think that this should have happened yesterday. Great question. Appreciate you, my man. Jim Sanders, thank you for the 10. Remember when early in Jim Harbaugh's tenure, he took his team to the Vatican? Faith, family, and football. Cheaters, what a crock. Yeah, I mean, those guys were like mega lit over spring break. Now, again, I suck and hate traveling, but they went to like Africa and like did like a safari and and I'm sure all that was fun, but I don't want to do any of that. Like I want my time off. Like, I don't want to go to Europe. I don't want to go to Africa. I don't go anywhere. I might go to Vegas and blow some steam off. And my Vegas people know what I'm talking about, because when I get out there, it's a good old time. But I don't know if I want to go like 10 days with all my teammates on an African safari, because there was some donor that was paying for all that. I mean, and those had to have been obviously, $5-10 million for a trip to fly an entire team over, feed them 3 square meals a day, put them up in the hotels, and they were practicing. So it's like, they were like practicing. And so you got to fly the trainers over, you got to fly the doctors over, you got to fly all the equipment over. I mean, it was like obscene. And I'm like, I'd rather just practice at the Woody Hayes. Because again, when we used to go to bowl trips, I hated practicing at the high schools, or at we practiced at Tulane for a little bit. We practiced at the Saints facility. Like, there's no place like the Woody Hayes. There's no place like home, because at home you've got your cold tubs, your hot tubs. You've got an underwater treadmill, which I used to wear that thing out. I love that thing. You got your weight room. That's the big thing, is like you get your nice weight room, which most high schools, they've got, dumbbells and barbells and benches and stuff, but they don't have every little thing that you need, like the Woody Hayes. The Woody Hayes has literally every machine you can ever dream of. So it's like impossible to not get really strong there. What do you think?
Real quick.
Good.
Real quick. I was going to say, all those trips. Guess who funded all those trips? Uncle T was like this.
Dude, I'm saying, man, like somebody was. I mean, if you're going to like Africa, Africa, like I can barely go to Costco, let alone Africa. Like good God, you go to Costco and spend a couple $100 on like, you get a couple bottles of wine, and you're out there, some turkey, a little mac and cheese. I mean, it's like, Moses, are you hosting Thanksgiving this year, or do you go somewhere?
Yeah. So usually we go up to Cleveland. My wife's family's from Cleveland. And we alternate Christmas, Thanksgiving, but we staying at the crib this year. Her mom is gonna come over, so not a big like deal as far as a lot of people, but yeah, we're gonna stay at the crib this year and do it, which I'm cool with. I enjoy going up to Cleveland, but I'm cool with staying home this year.
Oh, I told everybody to come to me. I don't care. I could do. I was telling a friend today, I was like, I would love to just have Thanksgiving by myself, because I know me. And I would go see Napoleon. I would go find me a bar. I'd get me some chicken wings and cold beer, and I'd just watch film and study Michigan. Like, that's what I would do. Like, I mean, my family's great. God bless them. They're amazing. But like, the best thing about my life of all time is that when I played at Ohio State, the Michigan game was literally the week before Thanksgiving. So it was last week. So, we would go and we would beat Michigan, And like the best day, like when you're in college to go out is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving because every single person comes home. You go to like the little
True.
bars like around, like Perry or Canton or whatever. Like, I mean, we'd all go home and we would get lit. And it was because again, we just beat Michigan and we didn't have a Big Ten championship game. So it was like we are the Kings, Again, I mean, we were getting ready to play Notre Dame the one year. We beat them in '05, and it was just like it was just awesome, because again, like you're riding that wave where the whole state loves you because you actually beat Michigan. Again, this is after growing up in the '90s where you got
Right.
smacked every single year, and people would always be angry, and there weren't many kids fathered in December just because the husbands were so mad. They were impotent for a month. Because they don't. So I mean, it's like I don't know. I don't know. I it's like I'd love to see the stats on that. Like when Ohio State loses to Michigan, like the like impregnation rates have to just go down through the floor.
That's
You know,
hilarious. I want to see those stats too.
Oh God. Oh, the dogs are all getting kicked around all around Columbus. It's bad. Austin Spears, thank you for the 10. I was to be the actual defense Legion of Boom, just the structure. So yeah, like the single high, again, like that's what Jeff Halfley
Yeah.
ran.
Okay.
They ran that cover 3 with Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor and Brandon Browner, and then they had Earl Thomas. He was kind of the high guy, and they put Cam Chancellor as the low guy because he was like 6'4". Big safety down the playmaker. Corners are locked on. Yeah, I mean our corners are playing fantastic. Again, shout out to Uncle Tim Holton because Uncle Tim is out there killing it right now, man. He does his little sermons and stuff, and they're not all corny. Some of them are pretty good. He's the OG, but he's doing great in recruiting too. These kids love playing for him.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Austin. Again, you're bringing the fire tonight. Thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Tim Humphrey, thank you for the 5. Is Ryan Day on the hot seat if we get the L this weekend? And how bad will Big Slick says they can't cheat this game? Update on Edric Houston. I've not heard anything on Edric Houston. Edric Houston collapsed after his game. Sounds like he's fine. Again, that kid needs to go get his heart checked quick. Just because I had a spell when I played for the Lions. This actually like kind of ended my career in the league, where I got misdiagnosed with a heart thing with cardiomyopathy. And like if you get a heart thing in the NFL, you're like radioactive because nobody wants to. Nobody wants to pay if you drop dead. If they know that you've got a heart thing, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, well, he's got a heart problem," and then you die on the field, and then your old lady gets to go after the league and the NFL and the Detroit Lions. Like I wasn't worth that, so they whacked me. And honestly, I'd have done the same thing. I was like, I don't want this guy dying on our field. We have to go write his widow a big check, and she could go make it rain. But I don't think Ryan's on the hot seat regardless. Again, you gotta look at the impossibly high standard that these guys deal with now, where they literally can't lose a game ever. Even like last year, we're like, we're a field goal kick away from beating the Georgia Bulldogs, who are the 2-time defending champions in Georgia.
Right.
And, so I mean, we're close, but again, the problem is like when you're Ryan and you come after Urban Meyer, who won a natty, and then Jim Tressel won a natty, that's the standard now. The standard is national championship. So anything short of that, and again, trust me, I played on that '06 team. That '06 team, we talk about the 1-2 game, Troy Smith Heisman. Like, we didn't win the national championship. We got housed by Florida. Like, they don't do reunions for Big Ten championship teams at Ohio State. You have to go win the natty. They didn't have like here's the 10-year reunion from the 2006 Ohio State Buckeyes. Like, no. Like, there's no reunion for just winning the Big Ten at Ohio State. And I like that because the standard is the standard. I mean, the standard at Ohio State is you win the natty or you're erased from history as a team. It's kind of, I mean, and that might be blunt, but I won the Big Ten 3 straight years, 05, 06, 07. We beat Notre Dame in that 05 year. Then the other 2 years we lost national championships. No recognition for any of those teams, which is fine. And I actually like that. Because again, I don't think a Big Ten championship ring really means anything. If it ain't the natty, it doesn't matter. What are your thoughts on that, B. Moses?
Yes, and I feel you. I mean, that's kind of tough because those were some really good teams and good memories overall. But that's just what it is. But yeah, about Edric Houston, I heard that he came out and said he's fine. He was dehydrated, and that's why he collapsed. So I haven't heard anything about anything more serious than that, which is great. Obviously, the staff at his high school needs to make sure he's hydrated. But yeah, he just said he was dehydrated. But yeah, we talked about the whole hot seat, the whole can't talk, the whole hot seat thing earlier with Day, and I don't think he'll be on the hot seat. He wins 90% of his games. Scum is going away next year anyway, whether it be scandal or just being bad from losing a bunch of guys. 12-team playoff coming up, recruiting at a high clip. He's not on the hot seat. But with that said, again, I don't think it's going to matter. I know it's for discussion's sake, but I think he's going to handle business, and it's going to be a great conversation after the game on about Ryan Day and his overall track record and everything in a different light from at least those who have doubted him thus far.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is a great comment. I'm just putting this up here. This is not a super chat. Normally, I only do the super chats. Randy Gratishore should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. It's embarrassing and it's stupid that he's not. It's almost ridiculous when I think about it. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the playoffs change everything. Just because I mean, there's going to be a really good chance that we're going to see Michigan in the playoffs. At some point in our lifetime, we're going to beat them in the regular season, then we'll see them again in the playoffs. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes on. I mean, that could happen this year, honestly. It's like, again, I think that if we beat them, I think it'll be enough ammunition to put a bullet in their head for the playoffs. Because I just think that, they're going to evaluate the totality of it and be like, well, Jim Harbaugh's, not coaching and they cheated. And it's kind of like Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame, but they put like Ty Cobb in, who's like the worst human being of all time. But Barry Bonds, who like did juice, and Mark McGuire, who like saved the entire sport, and Sammy Sosa, like at the end of the day, I'm just like, who cares? Like if they want to like juice and go hit bombs, like it's entertaining. It's better than watching guys just kind of kick it around. Do you Yeah, I think Steve Tovar, you guys are bringing some great comments today. I'm just reading through the chat real quick. Yeah. So B Moses, what's your predict? Are you to the point where you can give a prediction on the game? Are you gonna watch more tape, or are you gonna watch more Michigan, or are you good to go?
No, I'm gonna give a prediction. And forgive me, but this is just how I feel. All right. So my my nervous rivalry living through the John Cooper era energy type of prediction is 27-23 Ohio State. But I feel a more decisive win in my gut. I feel it in my gut, but because of my nervousness of this game over the years, I'm going to go with 27-23. But I just feel like we're going to come out and play really well. I think we're going to execute very well. I think our game plan is going to be really, really good. I think at the end of the day, we'll have too many weapons on offense. Their defense hasn't seen anything close to the weapons we have on offense. Kyle, I think, is going to play clean. I think he's going to get the ball to the weapons and not try to do too much. And our defense is going to be sound. And I think that gives us the chance to win by 10 or more. But again, I'm being a big punk right now, and I can't put it out there. So 27-23 is what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much on the mark. Again, you know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm gonna look at the weather, just because we've got
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna get a quick forecast for you guys, because again, I know people are worried about that. Again, everything can change if it starts raining. Because we played there in '07, my senior year, and it poured freezing rain the whole game. We literally couldn't throw the ball. So I mean, it was ground and pound. And I used to hate rain just because like when we had like Teddy, like I mean, if it's rainy and cold, like we're not going to be able to do anything through the air. So 10-day forecast. No, I don't want your stupid ad. Saturday it looks mostly cloudy. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Low, yeah, it looks like it's like 11% chance of rain. So, well, that's good. No, 4% chance of rain, mostly cloudy, 37 degrees. It is going to be cold. So, I mean, when we played there in '07, it was 37 degrees and it rained. So it wasn't snow. I wish it was snow, but it was like freezing rain. I was like chilled to the bone. And man, I could not wait to open that bottle of Crown Royal in the locker room, because I was freaking straight. Like I was a savage. I mean, when I was done, my body. The hardest part about when you play, like I played hurt, out a broken foot, and they shot it up. And when the pain meds wear off, it's like the most awful feeling in the world. And it's like you just can't wait to like pour you a drink just to cool it down a little bit, man. Because like I mean, I'm telling you, man, that Toradol wears off. It is ugly. Well, I think we're pretty good. You good, B Moses? You got any final thoughts for us?
My final thoughts are I can't wait. I can't wait to listen. I'm nervous about this game because I grew up on this game. I lived through the '90s. I've seen the
Mhm.
losses, and that's why I tell people to appreciate, the wins that we have had over them. But I think our boys are gonna make us proud on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to really handling business on the field and that feeling that will come afterwards and even during. So enjoy it, man. And also, I'm hoping that our guys can keep their emotions together because the scum players, they've been chippy and initiating the little dirty stuff over the years, especially there. So I hope our guys keep their emotions in check and just handle business and execute and don't take the bait because that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to bait us, whether it be in the tunnel or on the field. So that's what I'm a little concerned about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I never like they do the whole tunnel thing and they whatever. I never paid attention to any of that because like they got to come see you on the field. They can do all the talking
Right.
they want, but like eventually they got to come see you. And it's like I was like, I'll see you when we see you. I don't care about talking on the. We were actually, I think in '07 we were the last team that before they put in the no fly rule. There's like a no fly rule between the 40s now where you can't like the players can't go there because we were like
Mhm.
right on the logo and just standing there and like talking trash and whatever. And like I get to the point where I'm doing that where like, why am I even burning calories doing this? Like this is so stupid. It's like
Right.
I gotta go play. Like I got because it's always the guys like don't play that are like the craziest and say the dumbest stuff. Like I mean, there'd be guys on my team and be like, yeah, you guys could go do all that talking. You guys could be standing there drinking Gatorade when the game starts. I gotta go actually play these guys. I'm not gonna be burning my energy up talking to you morons. So I'm gonna see you out on the field and then I'll talk. But I wasn't a talkative dude because I just like to put my helmet through guys' kneecaps and make it hurt. Because when you do that, then that's all the talking I needed to do. I didn't need to say a word. I put I put my like the crown of my helmet right through their ACL, and then they didn't want to talk no more because that's legal. You can do that. You know. So well, I'm all right, B Moses. I appreciate you, brother. You're the best. I'm gonna do a little film breakdown. So thank you,
Cool.
B Moses. Appreciate you, brother. So I'm gonna break a little bit of film down now because I was talking about some of the stuff I would do against Michigan. Um, and we got some super chats, so I'll get to those in a second. This is a play that I would wear out, the Buck sweep. This is a great play. When Michigan's two best guys are these two interior guys, you can edge these guys so easy. And Trey just has so much room when you do this. And again, this is a big time play in college football. This has had a renaissance because you cannot cut the pullers anymore. Like in the past, the corners were taught to take the knee out of the puller, like literally go cut him, like go like tackle him. Basically, you can't do that anymore. So now you've got a guy that weighs about a buck 60 going against a guy that weighs like 305, and he can't really do anything because if you can't cut the guy, like you're gonna get ran through. So I love this play. I think this is a play that they're going to run against Michigan. Again, I think getting Trey out in space is just so effective, given his shake and his burst. But that's like a play. Like here's another one. This is again they see this is Chip here. They do a little play action here. They send him into the flat, and but this is beautiful. You got great protection here, guard pull, nice pocket. Kyle's got to throw this better. My God, but I guess he's probably a little nervous. It's early in the game, but those are the kind of things that like I love to see. Hang on, I'm gonna click over here real quick and get these super chats done because we've got a bunch of them coming in. Appreciate you guys on these super chats. These things are huge for us. Supporting the channel again. We kicked it every night on here, so this is always a blast. Let's see. Odds. Okay, from David Haskins. Odds if we beat Scum that Captain Weirdo is termed and they self-impose a bowl ban this year with him to get out NCAA strings. I mean, I would have already done that. I would have fired Jim Harbaugh, fired everybody, and I still think he's going to get fired. I think he's done. And again, if I looked at Michigan's schedule, like if you want to look at something terrifying, look at Michigan's schedule next year because they are playing like Texas is coming to the big house. Like they got it like USC. I mean, it is a brutal schedule. But no, I think they're all going to be gone regardless of it. I mean, and honestly, if Michigan was smart, they just whack all those guys down and just start from scratch because I think that's the only thing you can really do. But that's a great question. I think that when you're in these situations where it's so bad, I think the best thing you can do is just put a bullet in its head and just move on. Like go to plan B, which is get out in front of it, PR department, own it, self-impose the bullet. Because again, if we beat them, I would self-impose a bowl ban on Sunday if I was Michigan because they're not going to make the playoffs, obviously. Or if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to the Capital One Bowl or whatever, the Cotton Bowl. I would just self-impose and just do it and try to get out in front of it because the hammer is coming. This is how bad do you want it to be. And I feel like if you do it to yourself, then you kind of like, it's like you kind of like cut off the posse from chasing after you because it's going to be a circus for the next 6 months or until Harbaugh is gone. Got a 5 from Francis Plum. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Also got a 7. Appreciate you for that. If you have a question, toss that in the chat. I will look for it. So thank you for both those. Awesome Spirits Ultra member. Appreciate you. Thank you for the badge. Before you guys are done, enjoy your families and have a good Thanksgiving. Yeah, of course. I hope you guys have a blast on Thanksgiving. Again, I want to go see Napoleon. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather just go do that. Take me in like some popcorn and you have I love the movies. So and I haven't been to the movies in probably 5 years, but Napoleon looks awesome, and I'd love to see it. But I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. D Sonny, my man. Kirk, now as an alumni, does the feeling of Ohio State winning or losing compare at all to when you're actually playing? No, not at all. Again, I want Ohio State to win every game. Again, I own BuckeyeScoop.com with Nevada Buck. We're on these podcasts. The entire vibe of the state of Ohio is much, much better when we win, especially against Michigan. It's just everything in my universe is a lot better when we beat Michigan. So when they lose to Michigan, it sucks. But when you play, it's like life and death. I'm not trying to be, you got to remember, my dad died when I was a 12-year-old. So I've actually lived with life and death. It's not just, facetious, speaking. I've literally lived like having a devastating loss and losing to Florida and LSU. That was right next to when my dad literally died. So, again, it's hard, it's something that's on your tombstone forever. But, when you're playing, you get just unbelievable exhilaration when you win, especially when it's a real one. When you're playing, you beat Michigan, you beat Texas at Texas, you play those big games and you win them, beat Iowa at Iowa. But when you lose, man, it is literally like death. It's terrible. And again, when we played Florida, we went to school the next day. The big thing now with these kids, man, is these kids are on all online classes. They're never on campus or they're barely on campus. We were in class the next day. And it's just you walk in and everyone looks at you after you just got smoked. And you're just yeah, that sucks. We had the professor one time ask us why we lost to Penn State in 05, 17-10. The professor called up me and one of my teammates and asked us to explain why we lost. And I was like, well, I blew my knee out in the second quarter. So I'm out for a month. I did blow my knee. I blew out my meniscus and my MCL. So I couldn't play. My knee literally it would not stay in the socket because I tried to put a brace on it and I actually had a knee brace on. So it was a miracle my knee didn't completely blow, but we literally had to go up and explain to the class why we lost, which I thought was hilarious because I was well, at least you guys care. Because again, I don't mind that people get upset when we lose because that's how I want it to be because it means people care. So if people are off the chain and they're sending mean tweets and they're ripped, they're drunk, they lost, their house gambling, whatever, that's just kind of what comes with the territory now. I think that, the one thing I learned when I was playing is I feel the most vicious people on online. And again, I don't care what anybody says about me online because again, as long as they're talking about me, I'm good. They can say mean stuff, nice stuff, whatever. I just like that people like to talk about me. It's really fun. But the people that are really nasty, the players and, and these kids, they read this stuff. And I think it's people that lose money on gambling. And I think they get really drunk. They might try to chase the gamble or the bet or whatever. And then when they lose or we don't cover, it's they need their pound of flesh from Trey Henderson or from, whoever is in their spotlight, on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I think that's always something that I kind of figured out was the people that are extra nasty are people that lose money. But I appreciate that. I'm going to bust a couple more plays real quick while we're here. So thank you, D-Son. I appreciate you, my man. You're in here every night. Thank you to all the regulars. My girl Jessie's in here. Jesse Davin. So, yeah, but we're cranking along. By the way, Nevada Buck will be back tomorrow. We're going to do a show at 11 a.m. So if you guys are regulars, I'll put that up a little bit early so people kind of know that when we're cranking. But he has some business to attend to abroad, so he will be back. So appreciate you guys. We'll be going nice and early. See, again, this is the stuff I like to do with Trey. Again, when you've got D tackles, when these are the two best players, And I'm not talking from Minnesota's perspective. I'm talking from Michigan's perspective. Get these guys out in space. I'm telling you, like this is all Trey Henderson. Trey, this guy's deleted, but he's got a guy right in the hole right there. And I mean, he hits that stutter step and he's to the crib. And again, linebackers can't stay with Trey. That's his gift. And I really truly believe he's got to be the MVP of the game. He's got to be the best player on the field on Saturday for us to win. And I think he will be. Like again, he's a guy that, he's obviously playing for a lot of money. He's playing for millions right now to be a top 20-ish draft pick, which I think he can be because I think he's going to destroy the combine. He's going to destroy the game. I think that with him having the injuries, like it's all profit from here. He's dominated, but if he shows up against Michigan, because that's the tape all the scouts are going to watch is the Michigan tape. They're not going to watch Minnesota. They'll watch Notre Dame too, but he was kind of dinged up in that one. But this Michigan game for a lot of these guys are on the fence about leaving. Like I think JT Tuimoloau is gone. Tyreek is on the fence. He easily could be gone. Jack Sawyer's on the fence. These guys are waiting for the grades, but if these guys pop against Michigan and have that big game, because that's the one the scouts are going to watch, then who knows at that point. Nevada will be back tomorrow. So I'm getting some. Where is Nevada back? He misses you guys dearly. Appreciate this. Oh, Matt, thank you for the 10. Happy Thanksgiving. Love the show every evening. Appreciate it. We love doing it. Again, apologize that Nevada has been gone. B. Moses filled in today. Bill the Bank Green is actually in Vegas on vacation with his girl. Again, it's kind of the one-man army right now, which is me. So, but you guys help carry me along, so I appreciate that. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Love the show every evening. Thank you. Born in Texas via Chicago. Met Archie Griffin at the college football all-star game at Soldiers Field in the mid-'70s when I was a kid. A class act. Yeah, I actually rode up the escalator with Archie last week. We played Michigan State that night game. And I was talking to him. I talked to him for like 3 minutes or whatever. And I was just like, you are the best Buckeye of all time. Like you are the most gentlemanly, kind, gracious. And Archie's always funny because he always wears like a coat. Like he's like a Ninja Turtle, like a trench coat. He always has a hat pulled down like this because he doesn't want people to notice him. Because like when you're Archie's like, if you go to Disney World and Mickey Mouse is walking around, like if there's Pluto and Daisy Duck and stuff, like nobody, the kids might get like a little photo or autograph, but like when Mickey walks around, every single kid wants to get a photo. That's why like the line is like 3 hours to get a photo with Mickey at the back of the Magic Kingdom. And that's kind of what Archie is. Archie's like Mickey. Like, when people see him, they want a photo, they want an autograph, they don't have to sign their baby, whatever. And like, and he, he deals with that everywhere and he's ultra gracious about it, but man, is he a special dude. Like I love really getting to know him. His son, Adam, is part of Buckeye Scoop. He's a subscriber. So again, just great people overall. I'll bust a couple more plays for you guys. Appreciate you guys kicking it in here. Again, the super chats are great. I love you. These guys, we got a bunch of Michigan people in here. I miss our Michigan people. They haven't been here anymore because the Michigan people were all talking like we didn't know what we were talking about. And when we knew they were going to get waxed and sure as can be, we knew exactly what we were talking about. Yeah, there's not a lot to watch in this Minnesota game. I was just seeing if there's anything else to break down. What are you guys having for Thanksgiving? I was having turkey, but what sides do you guys have? I'd love to put that in the chat right now because that'd be kind of hilarious to see what you guys like. I'm gonna bust this play real quick. So we did the goal line set that I'm not a huge fan of. G. Scott, Luke Montgomery. It's kind of like a heavy set. There's the regular line starting there to there. You got Cade. And then they put Caden Korean. I mean, this guy doesn't even rush. So Caden's got free money right here. This is a delay play. I used to run this in high school, actually. So, so they got, I believe that's Caden. He's coming here, setting the edge. And, Cade does the delay. This is always a great play because on the goal line, you like fake a drive block and then you jerk the guy down. And this guy, I think, expected it just because of how he was blocking. And you just leak real quick. And it's just a nice, easy throw. Like, it's a real close throw. So, I mean, I like a lot of the stuff Ryan's doing down on the goal line. I don't love that big heavy six. I think, anytime you take Marvin off the field in the short goal line, I think you're crazy. See, I like this. I'm having pizza for Thanksgiving. See, I like pizza. I mean, I'm not a turkey guy. I'd rather eat steak, honestly, but that's just me. But yeah, well, I think I'm gonna wrap the show up. I appreciate you guys as always kicking it with us. We went for about an hour and 15. So thank you guys as always. We will be back at 11 a.m. tomorrow with Nevada Buck. He'll be making his glorious return to the podcast. So we're gonna be cranking it up. He's gonna have a lot of energy. He had a really good trip, so I'm excited to get him back on here, and we'll get cranking for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, and also click that little alert bell. Again, you guys supporting the program means so much to us. We appreciate you guys so much. If you guys, again, the super chats are huge. Buckeye Scoop Ultra is a new feature for our YouTube channel only. It's basically a subscription service where we're going to start doing live chats versus for our subscribers. Really small group. It's going to be awesome. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So we'll break film down. We'll basically kind of make it, we'll just cater to you guys. Whatever you guys want to do, we're going to do it. Talk football, talk old stories, new stories, modern, stuff that's going on, the future college football, some of the sharp stuff. So I think it'll be really good. But I really appreciate you guys as always. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be rolling with Nevada Bucks, so get ready to roll. We appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to say that again tomorrow. I know it's only Tuesday, but some of you guys are taking off and traveling. So be safe, enjoy your loved ones, and eat some turkey. Let's get ready to beat the Wolverines. Go Bucks.